This is a review on the Benchmade Model 53. I just got this knife about a week ago. It's pretty much new to the market. A lot of people have questions on this blade because it's pretty different from the other models that Benchmade has put out. That's kind of why I wanted to do the review, even though I have a lot of other projects in the works. So I apologize for those who are waiting for the review on the Mayhem, and I have a couple knives on loan from some members, and so sorry if those projects got delayed. I will get to them. I just wanted to cover this knife because a lot of people had questions on them. I'm going to cover this review from two different perspectives. One is the EDC perspective, which is kind of what Benchmade was going for with this particular Balisong. And the second perspective is from a flipper's view, from someone who uses a Balisong not just for EDC, but more so for manipulation. As an EDC, I'd say this knife performs pretty well. I like the full flat grind blade. The handles are shorter, which makes it a little bit easier to carry. And the handles are all G10, which keeps the overall knife pretty light. A couple things that I had an issue with as a user: this piece right here sticks out, and I don't really think it serves a purpose. When you hold the knife, it kind of digs into your index finger, which I don't think is too comfortable. I've seen this type of design on folders and Balisongs where this piece comes out and it kind of goes with the contour of the handle, and it acts as like a finger rest or finger guard. But in this case, it kind of just sticks out there, and I don't really think it was necessary. If you look, they could have just rounded this off. It's not like it's used like on the Mayhem. It has this point, but this acts as a stop for the Zen pins. With this particular model, this part doesn't really do anything, so they could have just rounded it off or made it contour with the rest of the handles, so it would have acted or served the function. The other part that I didn't really like is they went with this style latch, pinned latch, and when it is locked like this, because the handles are a little bit shorter, you can feel this pin go into your palm. It kind of digs in, so if you apply a little bit of pressure, after time, this starts to wear on you a little bit. Most of the times, or in the recent Benchmade Balisongs, they use this flat latch here, so if it goes into your palm, you don't really feel it. And plus, with a long type of handle like the Mayhem, it goes across your entire palm, so you don't really have that issue. Likewise, with the 51, it'll go across your entire palm, and this you don't really feel the latch. It does have jimping back here. It's not as aggressive as some knives, but it is more aggressive than the Mayhem's jimping, so it does give you a little bit of feedback and control when you're doing cutting tests. It carries pretty nicely. I carry my Balisongs in waistband, and this pretty much just disappeared into my waistband, so I like that. And the pocket clip is the same as the Mayhem. It functions pretty well, and it is reversible. The latch, however, is not really removable because they decided to go with a pin instead of a screw, and it is not swappable to the other handle. I kind of would have rather had the spring latch. I like that, either the spring latch type on the 51 or the 42 or Mayhem. This free swing latch, it doesn't really affect it in terms of flipping or EDC, but it's something that I liked from the Benchmade knives. But they probably opted for this just because this is a little bit more of an affordable knife. Now, as far as the flippability, from a flipper's perspective, it's pretty much what I expected. All G10 handles, I believe it's aluminum spacers, so you have a very light handle section, and then you have this, it's not super thick, but it is a 3-inch D2 steel blade, so it ends up being top heavy, and there's not a whole lot of mass in the handles. So what ends up happening is rollovers and tricks of that nature are very hard to do. On top of that, they are staggered handles, which are not symmetrical, and they are curved, though maybe not quite as curved as the Mayhem or say like the Zabofly, but they are curved nonetheless. So all these things combined, lightweight G10, light spacers, short handles, staggered and curved, make for a poor flipper. This knife is just not very flippable at all. I don't think it would be conducive to competition or the advancement of your combos. to make things a little bit worse, Benchmade went with a bearing system, which is innovative. I think that is innovative. That is cool that they put a bearing system into the Balisong. I don't really think I know of a production Balisong that's done that. However, I have to say that a bearing system, as far as flipping is concerned, is useless. It actually hinders flipping. And the best way that you can kind of feel this without actually owning, say, an IKBS or a bearing type Balisong is if you took, say, your 42 or any knife and you just dumped a bunch of mineral oil here, right after you lubricate it and you go and try to flip it, it kind of just wants to fly all over the place. Okay, so what the bearing system does is it's pretty much permanently like that. Every time you go to do a chaplain, right, this handle just wants to fly off, or the blade just kind of wants to fly off your finger. And for rollovers, it's very fast. So you don't have as much control. Believe it or not, you want a slight degree of friction, not to the point where it sticks, but you want it to have a little bit of resistance inside the pivot so that when you're doing, say, zero gravity chaplain or vertical chaplain or any type of thumb rollover, that the blade does have a little bit of tendency to stay in this position. Okay, if you have a bearing system or a lot of lube, it wants to just open up and fly off your fingers. And really, I don't really think the bearing system has much of a benefit as an EDC either. I don't feel a whole lot of difference in the way that it opens or closes. I mean, my 42 Mayhem, the 51, they all open just as nice. I mean, even this Kimara that has nylon type spacers opens just fine, right? As long as it's lubed up and so on and so forth. One benefit though, if you look here, is it has, when these screws are tightened down, there is no play. So that is impressive. You know, from a production Balisong to have zero play, that's nice. But it doesn't help with the flipping because of all the other things I just mentioned. But I do like a knife that has zero play. The knife does not come with any Loctite, so you do have to do that. I flipped this for less than a couple minutes, and already the pins started coming out. What is cool, these pins are not press fit like they are on the 42. They look like a D. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's not circle. One side is kind of beveled off so that these don't spin when you're adjusting the screw. So that was kind of cool. And it is a tang pin construction, so I like that for flipping. I just feel it has a little bit more bounce to it. Doesn't really help the 53 in terms of flipping, but it's a nice touch. Overall, for flipping, I'd say it's like a 2 out of 10. And I would say the knife overall, I would give a 5 out of 10. And the reason I'm saying that is because compared to the Mayhem, okay, the Mayhem is an all-out EDC knife, all titanium, you know, S30V blade, just a real solid, thick, beefy, nice user type EDC. You know, it's really fits its role in a dominant fashion. And although it's not a good flipper either, as far as just the build quality, the feel, and the performance of the knife as a user, it's awesome. You know, no one I know who owns a Mayhem is unhappy with it. As far as the 51 is concerned, it is an awesome flipper, and it's also an awesome EDC. So it kind of fit both roles very well. You know, this is one of my favorite knives. This is one that I would never get rid of. The 53, on the other hand, I don't really know. I guess I don't really think it fit the EDC role 100% for the flaws that I mentioned earlier, and it definitely comes short from the Mayhem in my opinion. And then at the same time, it doesn't flip like, you know, like the 42, which is an all-out flipper. It doesn't flip, you know, anything close to, say, a 51. Even the Morpho flipped better than this knife. This is flippable. I can do some stuff with it, but again, overall, just a pretty lousy flipper and a mediocre EDC, in my opinion. To me, it's more of kind of just a, you know, if you want kind of a novelty as an EDC, that's, you know, it's a Balisong EDC. It's a lot more affordable than, you know, if you can't get a Mayhem. This is there, but make no mistake, this is not a substitute for the Mayhem. It doesn't even come close. So I wouldn't say that it's, you know, a poor man's Mayhem or anything like that. It's very different. They're just two totally different animals. So that's why I gave it kind of an overall 5 out of 10. You know, it doesn't really fit any role, absolutely, but it overall is built pretty nice. I don't think it's built as nice as Benchmade's previous knives, like the 51, the Mayhem, or the 42, but it's still, you have to consider that it is also about $50 less, $50 to $70 less than the 51, almost $100 less than the Mayhem, and we all know that the 42 now is pretty much $300. So this is about $139, you know. So the overall value is, you know, everything's relative. You know, you're not paying the price as you would with these knives. So for the price, it's all right. In my opinion and my suggestion, if you're looking for something that's gonna fit that EDC and flipping roll, go for the 51. If you have the money, go ahead and opt for the 51. It is a much better flipper, and I think it's a better EDC too. And if you're looking for something that's an all-out EDC Balisong, okay, go for the Mayhem. The Mayhem is a superior knife by far. Now it is $100 more, but I think it's worth it. That's just my take. You know, I know some people who bought this and they're very happy with it. You know, so that's fine. You know, to each their own. But for me, you know, that's my opinion. It's just kind of an average knife. I could see it being a good intro knife because Balisongs are very expensive. Somebody wants like a Benchmade Balisong. $139 is cheap for a Benchmade. So maybe it'll get people into the into flipping, into Balisongs. You know, it is kind of a very unique knife. So that could be one plus. But if you know, I'd like to hear people's thoughts and opinions on their 53s, and if you have any questions or comments, you know, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. So thanks for watching.